Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. All week long, I have been sharing stories from St. Croix about the AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute retreat. It's basically a youth entrepreneurship retreat involving high schoolers and college students, and this one was surrounding agriculture and conservation. Not only did I have a chance to cover it, but I had a chance to speak to the participants. And what I told them is what I tell adult business, leaders, how to use their phones, their iPads to engage with social media through story. And this is what I shared with them.
We want people to know who we are, who funded us, and what we're doing. And when you go to our sites, like on Instagram, it's just the AMPS Institute. The AMPS Institute, we want you to follow the AMPS Institute. On Twitter, we want you to follow AMPS Institute. It's just AMPS Institute. And I know Sophia will probably be setting up the other social media outlets. But I want to bring up this lady who, like I said, is a media producer. This is all she does. She understands the media. She understands the power of what you have in your hand right now, your cell phone. And she'll talk to you about herself and about media and what public relations can do for you and so on. This is our media guru. We're glad to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacqueline Jimenez.
Hi guys, my name is Jacqueline Jimenez and I'm with Newsworthy Stories. And so just like James is talking, so at Newsworthy Stories, that's where you'll find stories about you. So on Facebook, you'll find at Newsworthy Stories, also on Twitter, but LinkedIn. How many of you have a LinkedIn page? Any of you? All right. Everyone here will have a LinkedIn page, okay? Because that's where business is happening. It's not just for looking for jobs anymore, it's for networking. You know what I call it? Show your work. That's the place where you show your work. So every story I produce, I put on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. And people are picking it up. So now I'm on Pod TV. Now news stations are putting it in their newsletters. And so they're using my stories with their, like, some of them have nonprofits. So let me back up a little bit. So I've worked for ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliates for over 30 years. I've also been a freelance producer for all that time. So I've always produced commercials, documentaries, but most importantly, I've produced corporate videos. And what that does is I have been producing news stories for businesses and nonprofits a lot because most people don't understand what newsrooms consider newsworthy. And so what I do is I go in and I help them identify those stories and tell it from an angle that news will cover it. Most businesses and organizations will tell or send a press release that sounds like a commercial because in their minds, or whoever wrote it, it always sounds like a commercial. Okay, news will not cover commercials. So you have to have a story and you have to understand how to tell it and what angle to tell it. So I have a little handbook. It's called How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. You can read it in 40 minutes. It's a reference book. And it'll tell you what elements is news looking for in a story to the end where you need to understand how to write a press release. People will charge you $500, $700 for a press release and there are no promises. So you need to understand how to write your own. Your phones and I don't know what's up there. The iPad, I'm like, where's my iPad? Where's my iPad? Okay, so let me tell you a little story. Just from the pandemic. My intention was after I finished writing my handbook, which was published at the end of 2019, I said, I'll go and promote it in 2020. Well, I was only going to freelance produce and be a media strategist because everyone I talked to, they wanted to know how to get what? Television news coverage. But most people think it's hard because that's how it's been pitched. But because you have phones and you have iPhones and you have iPads, you can use those to be the reporter. The book is not just for television, it's for social media. Because when you're a business owner, you are the newsroom. and social media is the audience. And you have to treat it the same way. It is 100% no different. Absolutely the same. So what I do is I share all the techniques that we use in news, because it's a reporter's primary job to tell the story, but it's a producer's primary job to sell it. So I sell stories, okay? And so what I have learned through the pandemic is I will tell it like a news story, because people will watch it, but I highlight it like a corporate video. And so the whole time you're in the story, I am sharing about the business. More so today, what I share is not so much what you do. Anyone can sell a product, anyone can have a business, anyone can have a service. You know what I sell? I sell your character. Who are you? Because that's what people are buying into right now. They're buying into who you are. So if they have a choice between two companies that do the same thing, but one company is serving the community, one company is actually providing service in the community, they're gonna go with the one who is serving the community. So on LinkedIn and all those places, we're gonna what? Show our work. You show your work. You use your phones to interview people. Okay, so what do we need? So today, this weekend, what are we gonna do? We're gonna use our phones, and you're gonna interview the people with you. It's kind of like the way I came up to you today. What did I say? You know, why are you here? What brought you here? You know, ask people, you know, at whatever level. So are you learning something? Ask somebody. What did you learn today? What was your takeaway? And then you tell the stories. Now, do you guys have iPhones? Mostly? Any of you have Androids? And that's okay. I'm not an expert in Android. I'm an expert in iPhone. So you'll have to find what's comparable. But if any of you here have an iPhone, you need to download an app called iMovie. Do any of you have iMovie? So you're gonna create movies and share with people with you how to create those movies. And even if you have to help them, help the person who has an Android if there's not something comparable, get somebody, you know, get your partner, get one of your teammates here, and help you edit your story, even if it's on their phone. So you'll share your video with them, show them how you want to edit it. You can have titles, right? So we need names, what your titles are, entrepreneurs. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. During the pandemic, I had absolutely no intention of producing news stories for social media. But I was on a call with a bunch of businesses who were talking about their struggles. We were in the middle of the shutdown. And one lady, she was a medical supply company. She had no business. She had masks, gloves, Tylenol, temperature checks, but nobody knew she was there. She was terrified of going to the media. Don't be afraid of the media, they're not that scary. She was afraid of going to the media, so I went over there with my iPad, not that one, but another one. I had to get an upgrade. Okay. Went over there with my iPad, and because I used to also be on radio, I used to be on air for several years. I said, I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna interview you, you're gonna show me all the stuff that you have, we're gonna show everybody. I said, you put it on your social media and I'll put it on mine. Let's just see what happens. And she went from no business to nonstop business. We literally could not talk for 4.5 months until I got my testimony. And then, you know, after that. But you want testimonies from the people. That's why you want phones. We don't want to hear what you have to say about your own business. We want to hear about the people you're serving. Because those are the people we're going to believe. Credible ones, not your family members. Okay? We need people who are using your product or service to tell us that you're awesome. And once we get that, your business sells itself.
Man, I tell you, that was such an amazing experience to speak to young people who are business minded, to just watch their minds click, click, click. It was really an honor to be able to speak to them. Plus, when you hear what they came up with in their business ideas, just remember what I said. Not only what I said, but what the farmers said to them, because they went on these farms and heard the needs of farmers first, hands on. And the best way to start a business is to solve a problem. And so they went in there with that mindset. And so I also wanted to thank the AMPS Institute and the USDA for honoring me, giving me a certificate of appreciation because I really did feel appreciated. I didn't wasn't expecting it, so I was really thrilled to be a part of that. But I also wanted to acknowledge the AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute, staff, the people behind the scenes. And on my left you have Sophia Nelson. She is with S.A. Nelson and Associates. She is the director also for the AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Retreat, but she, of course, has her own business. Same thing with Juan Casimiro. He is the director or the master trainer for the AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute. And quite frankly, he's not just for youth, even though that's what his focus is. Man, just the things that he said and the way he trained, every business needs him. You know, that's politely putting it. And I know James Amps, who is the founder and CEO of Amps International LLC, and of course the Amps Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute, he will surely agree. Both of them in conjunction, working with one another, their leadership teams, what they poured into these students was amazing. And also, missing it in these pictures right here, in this particular picture, is Sabrina Salters, who was awesome in coordinating the students and getting them in place. We would not have been able to do it without her. Just keeping up with everything, making sure the kids had their luggage and everything. She was awesome. So hats off to Sabrina Salters as well. Now, there is one story that I am not quite finished producing, and I really wanted to take the time because I believe that the impact is going to be so great. You're going to see these kids go to these farms and experience something they were not expecting. Uh, I'm hoping to have that for you this week. I want you to see that story this week. But I had to take time and make sure that it's done right because so many people were involved in making sure this particular program went forth because of the impact, because of the need. And you will hear that from the USDA itself. Um, what they are actually looking for in the areas of agriculture and conservation and why. There is it's a serious problem. And so we want to be a part of it. Newsworthy Stories wants to be a part of that team, of spreading the word of what's really happening on a global scale, but how these young entrepreneurs are going to make a difference, not just in agriculture or, conservation, but in every industry. And the way AMPS Institute has set up this, retreat, it works in every industry. And that's something I want to make clear. Also, I want to make clear is that this program is free to the students. The students didn't pay a dime. And, the way and where they stayed, I mean, they stayed at a resort. I mean, they weren't there a whole lot, you know, but they stayed in the best place, a place where they could work together, work in their, brainstorm together in a place and in a safe and a secure place. And so we did that, and AMPS Institute really laid it out. It was organized. It was so well done. And so I just want to, share that with you. I also wanted to share, as we wrap up today with Newsworthy Stories, I also wanted to share one of the stories that I ran earlier this week because of what the Commission of Agriculture has to say. about the types of needs that these farmers really need most and how the young people in particular can help. So thanks for watching Newsworthy Stories. Look for that story this week. It is just going to be amazing. Get your popcorn. It's more of a documentary. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to sharing that story. But wait till you see what actually happened on that farm. Man, what farmers are going through, it's not your, it's not what you're thinking about. It's not what you're imagining. It's technology there. I mean, it's incredible. I can't wait to share that story. Have a great day.
The University of the Virgin Islands becoming a battlefield for business for the AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Retreat. The campus shared their facilities, provided security, and even connections to a local caterer. 20 students from St. Croix and St. Thomas participated in the retreat in conjunction with the USDA NRCS, which focused on youth entrepreneurship and conservation. Their job was to pitch their business ideas to the people they would be serving during a competition for a cash investment.
You all will be doing your presentations right in here, so these microphones will be facing you. So you don't need to carry a microphone. You have to have a handheld. We'll have the judges right here. They'll have their microphones. I can ask questions right there. Okay. Team one, where are you at?
Right here.
Go ahead, y'all.
Hi, my name is Samantha Nibor. Hello, my name is Dr. Willis.
Hello, my name is Anibal Garcia.
Ricardo Colon of the USDA NRCS flew in from Puerto Rico to express the importance for young people to submit their ideas on conservation and gave this example.
Right now, you can select any part of Puerto Rico. In the future, it will be any part of the U.S. And comparatively apply different amounts of rainfall. You can actually see them happening throughout your terrain. You can as well compare them and combine them with different amounts of rainfall throughout history since 1941. So you can make it rain as it rained in Hurricane Maria. You can combine that with the winds of any other hurricane in the past to understand how your terrain would behave under those conditions and which areas are most at risk.
Can you imagine what you can do with this kind of software? And that was born thanks to Alejandro Mieses and his proposal to the Conservation Innovation Grant. Things like that is something that you can create for the world.
Students also used the university's library to do their research while putting together their business plans. Students working up an appetite were treated to Annie's Catering, who provided a home-cooked meal for the students and also gave AMPS Institute an opportunity to invest in local businesses. Without even realizing it, the teams were learning how to build relationships with people they didn't even know and form a company. A signature of AMPS Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute.